About 90% of my diet is raw sheep meat. I'm just somebody living in obscurity, eating my intestine smoothies in my kitchen. My name's Derek Nance. I'm from Lexington in the state of Kentucky. For the last 9 years I've been sourcing and butchering and eating raw animals, and I've never felt healthier. This is a ram's testicle from a 3-year-old ram. It has a more salty taste. It's not like red meat, it's more of like a seafood almost. Growing up I just had the standard American diet, had allergies and headaches and asthma and other signs of, food intolerance issues where I noticed certain foods were really giving me trouble. I'll chew a wad like rawhide, and I'll just chew it like gum throughout the day. I think it helps polish my teeth. Finally, I came across the Weston Price Foundation, and they do studies of indigenous diets. Eventually discovered the meat-based diet and just decided that, I'll give it a try. I was having so much trouble digesting everything else that meat seemed to work well for me, and I just felt like this was it. Alright, so ready to prepare a stomach smoothie? You can smell it too. So here's the small intestine, the whole parts, different parts of the intestines. They all go into my smoothie. And I can eat this and be fine with it, without any fear that the bacteria are going to come out to get me, because I actually think that they're beneficial. So I just make it into a smoothie, and it just makes it like all creamed together, and it's just much more consistent, easier, like a quick on-the-go snack. And my girlfriend made me designate a blender because I used to use her blender, and it holds that residual stomach smell. Save that for dessert. I believe that the nourishment that are in raw animal foods is far superior because there's certain nutrients that when undergoing the cooking process gets cooked out. I could sit here and chew on this bone for a good 15-20 minutes like a dog. But I'm going to crack it open and get some of the marrow out. Instead of just going to the store and picking out a prepackaged chunk of meat with a label on it, I prefer to go directly to the source. I'll drive out to a small family farm. I load up the animals in my truck and I take them back to the house here, and I butcher them in the backyard. It's fun. Whenever I get a fresh animal in, I prefer eating, the whole animal with all the organs and all the different tissues, because it adds variety to a diet that you'd think would be bland. This is the kidney and the kidney fat, and it's really nutritious, and it's a good part of the diet, but it might be an acquired taste for some. Hey, where am I going to sit? Over.
Right here, next to me.
Here. Well, let me sit in. I have 4 kids, and I live with my partner. My girlfriend was primarily vegetarian.
I would have probably remained a vegetarian if Derek hadn't come into my life. I think that the way Derek harvests meat is much more ethical than buying it from a grocery store.
Here's my skinning rack, and I got there's where that knife went. Depending on the size of the animal, a full-grown sheep around 175 pounds for, I don't know, about $200. I mean, 200 American dollars, and you can live off of that for about a month. And that's 90% of my food. I've had my kids be a part of the process since they were real little.
I'm pretty sure everyone would think it's strange.
Hey, let's see if we can find some eggs for me.
Oh, can we eat them raw?
If you want.
I've never seen them eat anything else.
What? We're used to it.
One of my friends, he said it was kind of weird. I said, yeah, it is weird.
My chicken's coming.
Yeah, they're fresh.
They're so pretty.
I had issues with the teachers reporting me because they found out that I was butchering animals in front of the kids. All that's been resolved after I've explained to the social workers it's what I do to harvest my foods. It's hard to be the odd child whose dad does a lot of crazy things, and I don't see why a child couldn't eat raw meat as much as they want, as long as it comes from a good, clean animal. We've been raised under the paradigm that germs are the root cause of all disease. We've decided to just sterilize everything to cook the life out of it. So this compost heap's been going for about 5 years, and it's really rich. Like I'll bury whole bones down here, kind of like a dog, if I feel like I need something to chew on. And I don't really eat the meat, but I do eat the maggots. These maggots are evolved to digest rotten flesh. I could probably utilize those digestive enzymes and bacteria to digest my own food. But I wouldn't recommend it to just anybody. For the most part, I react very well to raw meat. This is my fresh liver. I like to do a little aged meat with each of my meals, so I leave this liver hanging up here for about 2 months, and it ferments and it has a probiotic-like effect. See, there's actually mold growing on it, and sometimes I'll just eat it right off the beef. I'll eat it, and just the taste of it just wakes me up. Some people drink coffee, other people, have their morning stimulant, and this is mine. I haven't had any real adverse effects. There's only been a couple instances of like diarrhea and food poisoning from eating old raw chicken that I shouldn't have left in the fridge for a week. I hope to eat the raw meat diet for the rest of my life. No, I mean, I've invested 10 years in it, and now I'm really curious to see, how far I can push it. Say if I could live to be 80 years old, then it would validate a lot of the theories that I have about this diet and how it is viable.
Romans 9 verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. All praise to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and enough respect to the brothers teaching the truth all over the earth. This lesson is going to be entitled, The Beastly Nature of Esau. And Esau today would be represented by the so-called white man, or the Caucasians as it were. Jacob, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the seed of the house of Israel, to who today we say Jacob, or today we say the Israelites, but they're Jacob. So the Edomites is the so-called white man. The Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Now the video that you just saw in the beginning showing the beastly nature of Esau, the so-called white man, came from the brother from the Bahamas, Bashar Ban Yasharallah. He put the video up a few weeks ago, or a few days ago, a week ago, and I actually saw the video. And this is the brother right here, Bashar Ban Yasharallah, from the GMS Bahamas camp. And this is his page right here, Bashar Ban Yasharallah. So you brothers out there, this brother do a lot of good videos, a lot of edifying videos. They got the camp lessons going too. And he put up this video that he clipped from some place. He put it up just that clip of that devil, eating all those raw meats. He titled it, "This is how Esau Edom eats, and he loves it, vile beast." So I basically, downloaded the video, and I decided to go into it because I saw it, last week. I decided to, do a lesson off of it. So the water to the brother for uploading that. Like I said, this is him right here. Beautiful brother, which they had a beautiful camp down in the Bahamas. So with no further ado, we're gonna go into it. Now, you look up the term beastly, as the lesson is entitled, The Beastly Nature of Esau, right? When you look up the term beastly from Google, it says this. It says very unpleasant. And then it gives synonyms, awful, horrible, rotten, nasty, foul, objectionable, unpleasant, disagreeable, offensive, vile, hateful, detestable, loathsome, abominable, terrible, shocking, god awful, yucky, and then slang shitty. Here it says cruel and unrestrained, and that's eating raw meat in that manner or form is very unpleasant. It's cruel and unrestrained. It's yucky. It's vile. It's rotten. It's nasty. Right? It's against the law, by the way, or the law of the Holy Bible. Now here in the adverb sense, it says possessing a specified characteristic to an intense and unpleasant degree. Right? If you go down here in different definitions, in Merriam-Webster, it says beastly definition is relating to, characteristic of, or resembling an animal. Bestial. See? And these so-called white people, man, deep down, these Edomites, we're going to show you in the scriptures that the scriptures describe them as such, as beastly people resembling animals. They came from humble beginnings, which were such. They were like animals, wild beasts. Here, at dictionary.com, it says very exceedingly. If you look here, abominable, animal, barbarous, base, which the scriptures call them base, bestial, boorish, brutal, brute, carnal, right? And you could just go on and on. Gluttonous, gross, inhuman. There are many different definitions when it comes to beastly, but you get the idea, because the so-called white man is a very beastly individual. Now, when you go back in history, and you go back into the scriptures to their inception, where they came forth from their forefather Esau, right? What was said of them? Genesis 25 verse 21, and Isaac entreated the Lord, Yahweh, for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. So they couldn't have kids, and then Isaac, prayed to the Most High, and then his wife got pregnant. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. The one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So as we know, 2 different distinct nations will come out of her womb, right? And these 2 nations were none other than Jacob and Esau, the Israelites and the Edomites, twin brothers, right, with different ways of living, different manners about themselves, right? 2 different people. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, and the first came out red all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau, right? You could see his blood through his skin. And after that came his brother out and took his hand, Salakia, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. So Isaac was 60 years old when the sons were born. A score is 20. 3 score is 20 times 3, which is 60. Right? Now I'm reading this to get a point out of it. You brothers out there and sisters, you know the story back to front. All right, I'm not gonna go all into what all the things mean. I'm just trying to get a particular point out of this story. So as you get to verse 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And as we know, the so-called white man Esau, you live up to everything that's written about you. You like raw meat, right? You like to hunt. You're a man of the field. You love stuffing animals. You love being out in the wild. Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. And we know Jake loved to stay indoors, chill in the house, so on and so forth. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. So here you have Esau went out hunting one day, right? And he didn't get anything when he went out hunting, and Jacob was making some stew, right? And this is what was said. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage. Why didn't it call it red pottage here? It was something distinct about it. feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And really what was going on was the pottage or stew had red meat in it. It wasn't done yet. And you got guys that fell out of the truth, and they come back now and they try to say, oh, it was just red lentil beans, right? It was just red beans in the stew. That's what made it red. No, that's not what made it red, because you read the precept in Hebrews, it's going to tell you that it was more in it than just beans. All right. Now, if we just look up real quick, if it'll give us the word pottage, which I didn't look this up before, but I'll look it up now. It said what? Boiled food, soup, pottage, things sodden or boiled, right? No. Okay, yeah. So, it goes on. It says boiled food, soup, or pottage. So it was, soup. Now, if you have red beans and you're just making soup out of it, the red beans is not gonna make the soup red. Okay, you're just gonna have water and red beans in the thing, right? So if the pottage is red, it's not done yet, obviously, right? And Jacob saw pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. His whole name was changed to Edom, right, because of that pottage. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So he did two things wrong. He sold his birthright, and then he ate raw meat, right? And we know it had lentils in the pottage. But like I said, if I try it at home, take some red beans and boil it in water and make soup out of it, and see if it turns red. It's not going to turn red. The beans are just going to cook. The beans are just going to cook. The whole soup, the stew, whatever you call it, it's not going to turn red, man. If it's got red meat in it, then it'll be, you can see that it's red. Now, if you go back here to Hebrews 12 and verse 16, and also, too, when you look here, I looked up the term red meat, and it says meat that is red when raw. For example, beef or lamb. And as you see these devils, that you just saw the short clip we put up, that devil was chowing down on red meat, right? That's what he was doing. He was chowing down on raw meat. It's in your beastly nature as Edomites to enjoy bloody meat, red meat, raw things of the wild, right? I just know a guy at work, he said he would basically eat anything. He'd eat roadkill. They'll basically eat anything you put in front of him, man. He said as long as he'll try anything once. He said he'll eat beaver, bears, possums, anything out of the water. That's how these people are. And it goes back to their forefather Esau. This identifies you damn devils, man, you Edomites. Now, if you go to Hebrews 12 and 16, it says, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Wait a minute. It says here morsel of meat. Now, when you look it up, it's going to give you different definitions and stuff, right? And when you look up profane, if you look up profane here, which we know it means outside of the temple of the Most High, but it says here profane, unhallowed, common, of men ungodly. And one of the names of Esau, the so-called white man, they're called the ungodly in the scriptures. Particularly when you read it in the Maccabees, they're called the ungodly, right? If you go down here, it says, i.e. by implication of Jewish notions, heathenish, wicked, profane person. And that's who Esau is. The so-called white man is a wicked, heathenish, profane individual. Okay, that's what he is. He's profane and wicked, which profane means outside of the temple in the true sense. But you can also use that, what we just read. Also, when you look it up here, profane, it says this: relating or devoted to that which is not sacred or biblical. Eating raw meat is not sacred or biblical. Secular rather than religious, right? Secular, lay, non-religious, non-church, temporal, worldly, earthly. That's Esau to a T. Of a person or their behavior not respectful of orthodox religious practice, which is None of that really matters. It's just they are unrespectful of what the Most High says to do. Naturally. Because why? They're the wicked. Irreverent, ungodly, godless, impious, which we know that Cornelius was what? Cornelius was a devout man. So he couldn't have been an Edomite, because Edomites are impious. They're ungodly, right? Godless, without a God. Disrespectful, irreligious, unbelieving, disbelieving, sacrilegious, idolatrous, a profane, unprincipled man. And that's Esau to a T, right? Treat something sacred with irreverence or disrespect. That's how they treat the Bible. That's why they say the law was done away with. Desecrate, violate, defile, debase, degrade, contaminate, pollute, taint. See? And that's Esau to a T, the so-called white man to a T. He has not respect unto the Most High's laws or his ways. He pretends that he does. Now here again, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Because of that raw meat, that stew he was so hungry for, he couldn't even wait till it got done, right? He couldn't even wait till it got done. He had to have it right then. But it shows you, when you look, when you see that video, this damn devil, which I think the dude's name was Derek, they're making a damn smoothie out of intestines, eating raw meat and eating maggots and butchering all types of animals and not even having the patience to cook. He don't even want to cook it. He just want to eat it raw, So that's a good find from the brother on that video, but it goes all back to all of this in the scriptures. These are the same people who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. He didn't have respect to his birthright. He didn't have respect into the way things were done. It goes on, for you know how that after it, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. And for that today, you devils now can't be saved. And not only because of that, because the Most High made you to be the wicked of the whole earth. And that's what you are. You're the Edomites. And we ain't gonna never stop calling you that, no matter what. You're the profane people of the earth. Now as it goes here, it says related, profane, relating or devoted to that which is not sacred or biblical, secular rather than religious, of a person or their behavior not respectful of orthodox religious practices, irreverent, to treat something sacred with irreverence or disrespect. Well, what does Esau treat with disrespect? Even back then when he violated and he sold his birthright and he ate raw meat, he does the same things today. What does he violate? Right here in Leviticus 7:26, he has no respect for this. Moreover, you shall eat no manner of blood, whether it be of fowl or of beast, in any of your dwellings. Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. And these people pretend like they're people of the Lord, but they're not, because that's written there, and they even do it today. They're over there in the Holy Land eating bloody lamb, right? Eating raw meat, as it were. And it was one of their favorite dishes, steak tartare. They like their meat bloody as hell. And even in that video, just because the dude, you didn't see blood dripping off of it, the meat is raw. Inside of it, when you bite into it, blood comes out of it, okay? Liver is drenched in blood. It pumps your blood, right? Or it's filled with blood. So you can't eat liver and not take, even if you cook liver, which is why I hate liver. I never eat it. Even if you cook liver, you still taste blood in it, man. That dude is a damn demon. That dude is a real Edomite, okay? And that's an Edomite tendency to love and to taste the blood, but showing that he has no respect. He's profane. He has no respect for what the Most High said to do. Leviticus 17:10, and whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or any of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. All right, and even today, these people that claim they're Christians, if you tell them that they can't eat their favorite food, if they like food raw or rare, as they say rare, which is what? Still having blood in it. Even if we look up rare, let's see if we can look it up. Let's do this. Let's look up rare meat. It says meat that has been cooked for a very short period of time, leaving the center cool and red in color. You see? And some people like it very rare. Now, if you look up, let's look up this. Steak tartare, a dish consisting of raw ground steak mixed with raw egg, onion, and seasoning. See that? Wicked, man. Eat that kind of shit raw, you know. So it just shows you what type of people you're dealing with. Now, going back to Leviticus again, verse 12, and like I was going to say, if you tell these people today that they can't eat their food raw or rare, they would get mad. They would say they can do whatever they want to do. They don't have to go by this. That's why they say the law was done away with, because they want to do what they want to do, man. Right? Which it ain't for them anyway. So they really can't do whatever they want to do, because the Bible is not for them. They're not the people of the Most High. They're Edomites. Leviticus 17:12. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. You see? Going on, it says, and whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off. You see that? And neither are you supposed to eat roadkill, right, or any other type of animal that gets torn up. But what do these devils do? Is it goes right here. And every soul that eateth that which died of itself, or that which was torn with beasts, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until even then shall he be clean. So you know you're supposed to eat that stuff. And these devils will eat roadkill. They'll eat, whatever, man. Pretty much, which shows you that they're not the people of the Lord anyway. Now, when you go to Malachi, let's move on a little bit. When you go to Malachi, the Most High started breaking it down, and part of their beastly nature too is they like to live out in the wilderness, man. That's where they came from. They came from that type of beginning. The Most High, and these people know it because they make movies about it. Captain Caveman, right? They love the mountains. They love the mountains. They love being out there in the wild like a beast, man. Now today they try to act more dignified and whatever, but they're still the same people, man. Malachi 1 verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I loved Jacob. See, the Most High said he loved Jacob. He didn't love Esau. And I hated Esau. And the guy came on the comment board not too long ago and he said, see, that's past tense. He hated Esau. Well, as you read on, it tells you that he's always going to be have indignation against you devils forever, man. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. What does that mean? It's showing you that his heritage is going to be laid waste, but also too it goes back to his past, how he was living. If you go here to Job chapter 30:1, and it doesn't have to say that it's talking about Esau the Edomites, because we know that's who it's speaking of. That's how we know too that Job was not an Edomite. He talks trash about these devils. Job 30 verse 1, he says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Even back then you were like unto beasts, and you would sleep with animals. You do it even today. Bestiality is a big thing with you. Pedophilia, right? Homosexuality, necrophilia, which is having sex with dead bodies, or being attracted to dead bodies and having sex with them, and many other wicked things such of the like ye do, right? You can't get around it, man. These people are the same people from back then, because even now they sleep with animals and dogs. Like I said, I've done videos on that. And going on, it says, yeah, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste. If you look up solitary right here, and it says for want and famine they were solitary. They was pushed up into the caves, and they lived in the wilderness like wild animals, like beasts. It says here, hard, barren, harsh, bleak, harsh, bleak, of a company of wicked men. See it? Barren of women. You know, you can stop there. A company of wicked men. You see it? So when you look up words, sometimes little things come out. Their beastly nature. The beastly nature of Esau, eating raw meat like an animal, man. For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. Now here it says juniper roots were their meat, right? You look up the word meat, it's completely different, you know. It doesn't even have the implication of what when we read red pottage. It says bread, food, grain, bread, corn, food in general. So really it's talking about, you know, they used their juniper roots for their meat. You know, for some of the food they ate. But what else did they eat when they was out there? Whatever they could get their hands on, wild animals. Because they are wild animals. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. You still have that thieving nature about you today. That's why you steal lands. You steal natural resources, right? And it says, goes further, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and the caves of the earth and in the rocks. See? Now if you go, let me bring this up. In the book of Obadiah, which is all about Esau and his destruction, Obadiah 1 verse 1, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. Right? So that's who it's about. If you go here to verse 3, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? That's his pride. But it gives you a clue and a hint of who it is. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. And nowadays, and if you go to look up that red rocks of Petra, I challenge any of you out there to look up Petra. Right? They got their mountains and stuff. The way it was carved out over there, it looks just like your local post office, like the A-shaped frames, columns, just like Rome, man. Same people. So today their cliffs and valleys and caves are there are high rises, buildings that they build up, and that's how they always built their cities. Same way, man. Same people. To dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and caves of the earth and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. You know, you was out there in the bushes, you know, braying like donkeys and animals, like creatures, beasts. They were children of fools, yeah, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Right? They were viler than the earth. Look up viler. Let's see real quick what it gives us. They were viler. And it says this, and it really doesn't give you anything. Drive away, be vile. You know, the way that these things are worded, sometimes you can't really get the definition, but you can always go to Google and look it up. I'll look up here real quick. As soon as my computer will cooperate. Define vile, it says what? Extremely unpleasant, foul, nasty, unpleasant, bad, disagreeable, you know, abominable, atrocious, offensive, obnoxious, some of the same stuff. Odious, unsavory, repulsive, man. Same, disgusting, distasteful, you know, nauseating, sickening. And did you feel nauseated watching that damn devil chow down on raw meat, biting it and chewing it, gnawing on it like a damn beast? They were children of fools, yeah, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. And now I am their song, yeah, I am their byword. Right? In today's world, they look down upon you, Jacob. Look at these niggers. Look at these porch monkeys. Look at these spicks. Right? Look at these moon crickets. And you're the damn beast of the whole earth. But now we're your song. We're your byword. Which the bywords came upon us because of what? The curses. I will make their reproach and a byword, right? So you can easily see, man, these people are the same beastly cave people they've always been. That's why they make cartoons about it. Geico caveman, so easy a caveman can do it. Because they know that's where they came from. They flipped it and tried to make like they started civilization, and that's how it started in the Stone Age. No, civilization didn't start in the Stone Age. If you go back, you know, you didn't see the forefathers, the first men on the earth. Abraham then wasn't living in caves like animals, right? Even if you go back further than that, Adam and Eve wasn't living in caves like animals. The Adamites wasn't running around grunting in the bushes like you devils when you came forth. So back in Malachi 1:3 it says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. And when they was over there in Petra, they built it up a little bit, but now they got the whole world pursuant to what? Genesis, when the Lord said, when it was decreed that Esau would have the dominion, he was going to break Jacob's yoke from off his neck. So then he got rulership over the whole earth, the fatness of the earth, right? Thy dwelling place shall be as the dew of heaven. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. So coming up soon, your kingdom is going to be thrown down, because right now you're in rulership, right? Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So even though it said hated Esau, he's going to always hate you devils, man, because he created you to be base, low, beastly people. And he gave the word into your hand. Daniel 4:17. This matters by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the whole word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. And if we try to look up basis, now I know that this scripture was dealing with another king, but you can get from that. What can you get from it? It said the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and he puts the basis of men over it. So when you read Job 9:24, it says the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Given into the hand of the wicked by who? By the Most High. To the intent that the living may know the Most High, that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, right? And setteth up over it the basis of men. The basis. Let me see what it will give us, because I had got the words broken up. It says the lowliest of station. So the lowest people on the earth rule the world now. The lowliest people of the earth. The Most High gave a portion of rulership into their hands. They're the last great beasts on the earth. The revised Roman Empire, America, the Babylon the Great, NATO, and the EU rule over the earth. The revised Roman Empire. So when you go back to Romans 9, it goes back to it. It tells you not only did, so people that read Genesis think that Jacob tricked Esau out of his birthright, but it was already set up. It was set up. The Most High had it planned and preordained that he was going to hate the Edomites, and that they were going to be the wicked of the earth. This is Romans 9 verse 11. It says, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. What does that mean? That means the Most High had already had decided before they did any works. He created one to be the wicked, the other to be the righteous. As we read on, you're going to see that. It was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High? Yahweh forbid. For he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of the Most High that showeth mercy. See, so the Most High is doing what he wanted to do. He created one vessel, and we're going to read that, one for righteousness, the other for or one vessel for honor, the other for dishonor. This is the reason why Edomites have no problem chowing down on raw meat, living like a beast, stealing and destroying and killing and murdering, because it's in their soul. It's in their, as they like to use the term DNA, it's in their DNA to do so, because they were created for such a purpose. They're the wicked nation of the earth. Now we read verse 17. For the scripture saith unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth, The Most High did it one time with Pharaoh, made his name known throughout the whole earth, and he's going to do it again with spiritual Sodom and Egypt, America, Babylon the Great, when he takes these devils out of power and destroys their empire. Therefore hath he mercy on whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he hardeneth. The Most High is going to make his name known throughout all the earth when he destroys these devils, man. Thou wilt say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who hath resisted his will? People will say, well, how is it that the Most High can still hold Esau guilty and accountable when he was the one that made him be wicked? Because that's his game he's playing. That's his role in the movie. He gave Esau the role of the wicked. What do you do to the wicked? You punish him. He punished the righteous, did he not? You ain't had no problem when Jacob went into slavery. When Jacob got punished and went through all sorts of hell. Right? So now that it's time for the devil to get punished, now everybody want to cry. Nay, but old man, who art thou that replies against the Most High? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Right. You can't turn around now and say, why the Most High make me like this? Hath not the potter power over the clay? Of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, and do it with much long suffering, the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. And who was that talking about? It's talking about the Israelites from all over the world, man. Not only of the Jews, not only of the circumcision, but of the uncircumcision, the ones that can be brought back in, grafted back in, as it were. As it goes on, as he saith also in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. Who is that talking about? If you go to Hosea 1. So it shows you plainly that the Jews and Gentiles are these people. Or that the Gentiles are these people. Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. For great shall be the day of Jezreel. So those Jews and Greeks, what we just read. I mean, Jews are, let me go back and read it, Salakia. Down here in Romans 9. Verse 24, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles. I just told you plainly. As he said in OC, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not my beloved. See? And in the place, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living power. So there you go. That's that mystery done. It's finished. So we looked up words. We just, used that opening video as a little background in order to go into the scriptures and to show you plainly that the Edomites are a different manner of people than Jacob. And people try to twist and bend over backwards trying to save these devils, but they're not the Most High's people. They can't be grafted in. They can't be saved. They're wicked. They were created different than Jacob. They're the polar opposite of Jacob in their manner of which they behave themselves, the way they think and act, and even in the things they act out, what they do, even how they eat, man, it's different than you. So that's why, the Most High set up men to bring forth these truths. Now, you got these so-called churches, and they teaching people wrong because they tell you that these devils can be accepted with the Most High when they're profane people. This is what Ezekiel 22 says. Ezekiel 22 verse 23. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto her, thou art the land that is not cleansed nor rained upon in the day of indignation. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof. Right. The 501c3 preachers, the black church, as it were. Right. Even certain Israelite groups. It's a conspiracy. What are they doing? Like a roaring lion ravening the prey, they have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure and precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Her priests have violated my law, and have profaned mine holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and the profane. What is that? The holy people is the Israelites. The profane people are the Edomites. You said we are all the same. You ain't put no difference in us. You trying to make us all the same. But the Most High says you're guilty for that. They have put no difference between the holy and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean. Right. They say, hey, unclean things you can eat. Right. They say everything is good. You can eat whatever you want to eat now. When the Most High clearly set up certain foods that are unclean that you should not eat. Let's name a few. Pork is unclean. Shrimp, crab, lobster, crayfish, eels are unclean. Escargots, just snails, frogs are unclean. But who came forth with a lack of respect, right? As profane people, they don't give a shit about nothing except their own feelings, their own lust. They said, this is, you can eat this now. See? And they got their wicked preachers doing the same thing. Once you gobble down pork. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths. They even messed that up. They don't tell you about the new moon Sabbath. They don't tell you about the Sabbath itself, or the new moon, the feast days. They tell you that Sunday or Saturday or Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, all going off. And have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned among them. See that? Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves, ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls. Why do they do it? To get dishonest gain. So we bring these truths out to expose these people, you know, for their wickedness, and to show you how accurate the Bible is when it says Jacob and Esau. It describes them to a T. Esau is a profane man, right? He's a man of the field, out in the wilderness, eats raw meat. You know, he's a thief. He's a hunter. That's what his thing is, man. And then he's got these men nowadays, these preachers, they teach you all the wrong things, but Lord willing, you come out of that spell of sleep and you have woken up. So with that, this video has been Esau's beastly nature. Lord willing, you learned something and it was edifying. So I want to say all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Enough respect to the brothers teaching the truth all over the earth. See you again soon with another lesson, Lord willing. Shalom.